Hello, everybody, and welcome to Church at Home with Rachel for the 5th of September. This is Feel Good Friday, and so today I'm not talking about a funny feel good, haha, a hearty ha ha. I'm talking about a different kind of feel good, something that always makes me feel better. This is taken from Celtic Daily Prayer, Book 2, Further Up and Farther In, Farther Up and Farther In, and it is from last Thursday's devotion, 28th of August. The desert fathers and mothers taught that the goal of the spiritual life, at least in aspiration and intention, is purity of heart, apatheia, and inner peace and stillness, Hezekiah. I'm not pronouncing those right, but inner stillness with purity of heart produces watchfulness and freedom from the inner turbulence caused by recurring negative strains of thoughts and attachments. This is achieved through the cultivation of praxis, a practical daily rhythm for us to channel the spiritual disciplines. It requires a training of the mind, the emotions, and will to seek God and know self so as to better live in community and serve others. This is to acknowledge that, like everything, practice makes perfect, and constant practice requires discipline. It's tough, but the Father stressed, "Be not discouraged at your many falls." Truly, this habit can only be formed with difficulty. Prayer is no exception to this. Prayer is life. Life is prayer. But we still need the set times, the discipline, as that is how we learn. Not many of us could be put in a room and told to pray for an hour without preparation and instruction, any more than being put in a room having been told to play the piano for an hour without music and instruction. Even the disciples, having seen Jesus at prayer, said, "Lord, teach us to pray." I love this. The reason why this is a feel good thing for me is because prayer is that place where I can go back to and it feels like home. It's a place where I acknowledge that I have anxieties, but I am called to let them go. Because if I'm going into prayer, it means I'm going into conversation with God. I am being in relationship with the Trinity. And if I am in the relationship with the Trinity, if I'm in the presence of God, then the presence of God, by definition, shoves out the anxiety, shoves out the threats, pushes away the things that I am carrying. Because if I'm hanging on to them, I'm pushing God away. When God is present, I have to let them go. I have to let go of the things that worry me, the things that are too hard to handle and carry, because God carries them for me. And it's amazing what happens when you take something that's hard, like a hot potato, and it hurts to hold on to it, and yet you do, and you give it to God. And when God gives it back, if God indeed gives it back, it's completely transformed. And that's what prayer is. Prayer is a time of transformation. Prayer is an opportunity to lay down the things that keep us, that are heavy, that keep us, that we feel difficult with. And then when we pick them back up, if, as I said, if indeed they're still there to be picked up, if God says, "Here you go, it's back," we find it's light as a feather, easier to carry. We have a new perspective, and it's no longer something we dread, but it's something that we can hang on to and say, "I can do this. I got this." Even if it's something hard and difficult to deal with, we've got this. But the truth is, we don't get there simply by closing our eyes and shaking our heads and saying, "One, two, three, I can pray." Prayer, like everything else, is a practice. It's something we need to do over and over and over again. And indeed, it's something that even if we stop doing it, we get good at it for a while, if we stop doing it for a while, we get rusty. Think about Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl and um, Austin Matthews and all the hockey players getting ready for the NHL season, or the football players getting ready this week for the NFL. Think about them. If they were to stop working hard all summer and didn't do a thing, didn't do a push up, didn't do a leg up, didn't do a pull up, didn't throw the ball, didn't, they just went nuts and ate pasta all the time, ate improperly and completely, went drinking like fish and didn't take care of their bodies. When they get back for training camp before the first game of the season, how do you think that's going to go? You know, they're professional athletes. They're used to these things. It's going to take a bit, but they're going to get back in shape. But it's going to be hard. Even the professionals who work at something all the time, if they take time off, if they stop practicing, they will slide back. They might not slide back as far as I would or you would, but they're going to slide back, and they're going to have to fight through the hardness of getting into the rhythm again of training in order for them to get back to their peak performance. Same thing as with prayer. Even those people who pray all the time, even those people who are amazing prayers, that they are just, you walk in the room and you know that they have that kind of relationship with God. Have you ever met someone like that? I have a few times. And they just, you just melt, you relax in their presence, because where they go, God is. And where God is, you can't be upset. But even though people like that, like the Mother Teresa's of the world, if they, for whatever reason, decided they're going to take a holiday from prayer, it would take some getting back into the rhythm for them to get back to their prime function there. And that's what we need. We need to be prepared. We need to practice prayer. We need to be able to take the time every day. And like they mentioned there, sometimes it's having that set time of day, whether it's first thing in the morning or at lunch or late in the evening, or that time where everything in you, even when you're too tired, even when you don't want to, even when your mind is saying, nah, I don't think I will today. Yeah. Your body is saying, you have to. It's what we do. It's like we take our pills when we get up in the morning, and we brush our teeth before we go to bed, and we say our prayers. And it's amazing that even on those days when you really don't want to pray, once you sit down and you start, there's an incredible sense of peace and a sense of, why the heck was I worried about this? Why didn't I bother? Like, why was I hesitating? Why was I procrastinating about this? It's ridiculous. Prayer is a place of feeling good. Prayer is a place where we know we are listened to and we are heard. It's a place where we can tell the most honest truth that is on our hearts. We can just give it to God, knowing that God already knows the tough stuff we've got, that rotten, horrible stuff that's eating away at our hearts that we don't want to admit to, that we're embarrassed to admit to. God already knows it's there. And it's amazing what happens if we go to God and say, this is how I'm an awful, horrible human being. And God turns to you and says, first of all, you're not. I'm not judging you. Confess your sins. You are forgiven. And move on in love. It's amazing how good it feels when we come back to God in prayer. And for those of you who think I'm full of hooey, there have been seasons in my life when I haven't prayed. And I have felt guilty. And sometimes it's the guilt of not praying that's the hardest thing to overcome. But when I have swallowed my pride and I have made the time and said, okay, God, here I am. Can I come home to you? God has always greeted me with open arms and said, my child, I remember those things not. I am only glad that you are here. And it's amazing how easy it is to slide back into a rhythm of prayer when that's how you're received. So as you head into your weekend, I pray that you will find your rhythm of prayer, that you will find that safe and comfortable place where you can just be, knowing that God has called you and that you have a place, even if you have to practice at it, to feel good, to feel loved, to feel at home. Have a great weekend. I will see you on Sunday for Gospel on the Go and Monday for Church at Home with Rachel. God bless. Remember, you are loved.